Let's talk about Sivakami first. Okay, the most famous manifestation of Sivakami is known to us in Tillai Chidambaram temple. Great. Tillai Chidambaram temple is also known as the Chidambara Rahasyam temple. Why Chidambara Rahasyam is fairly commonly known knowledge. It is the only representation of what we identify in Sanatana Hindu Dharma as divine energy in the atomic form, which is what we for eons now have been claiming, is that it is in atomic form. Correct? Right. Now, if something is in atomic form, we have to understand not only does it comprise everything, but everything comprises that. So, now that we have talked about the fact that the Chidambaram temple represents this aspect of divinity as we know it, how does the Sivakami energy relate to that? She relates to the Akara, Ukara, Makara representation or manifestation of physical form of that. The Chidambaram temple, what we see, the Nataraja, is only one form of the divine that is associated with the atomic energy that we see. But although the atomic energy shrine is right next to what we now worship as the Nataraja Sannidhi, it is in no way any kind of statement that it does not represent the feminine energy. So really the kinesis or the movement of what comprises an atom is within the Nataraja. But what is the stasis of it, or what is the permanent factors or qualities of it, that is represented by Sivakami. I'll explain why. Nataraja, the first thing you think of is dance, movement, motion, whatever, so on and so forth. You think of Patanjali and Vyagrapada, who are great yogic and scriptural masters. So you're constantly thinking about movement, whether it is movement through the body, the breath, the mind, the soul, some form of movement. And if you think about it, the world is also in constant motion. But to be in constant motion, it takes a certain physical form. Correct? When it is not in that physical form, of taking motion, it still exists. Say for example, a particular atom is today used to make up your body, my body, whatever. Today it is in this form, to be in motion, to be for a purpose, or to exist, or to be seen, noticed, whatever you want to call it. Just because this body decays doesn't mean the energy or the atom or the whatever you want to call it, the divine energy that is used to make this body, doesn't mean it's going to cease to exist. It's still going to exist. So really, she represents that undying truth. Whereas Nataraja only represents the movement, the motion. One form as opposed to the eternal form. Even though it is in atomic form, divinity still has a form, which is the formlessness. Now, how we relate all this, we can take up a couple of specific motifs or metaphors or key concepts that we think of. Cosmic geometry of Sri Chakra, used mainly in the Shakta tradition of worship, which is the multiple triangles, the 64 triangles and the avalis and the Ashtama Siddhis around it. That one. Used mainly in Shakta tradition, but represents both masculine and feminine equally, because according to the cosmos, when you think about it in the formless sense, there is no gender, there is no sex. Correct? When you think of it in the formless sense, both, whether you think of it as two extremes or whether you think of it as two realities, it doesn't matter through the formless. The formless is represented through the form of the geometry, to invoke the energy, not to contain the energy. Sivakami represents that, the fact that you can invoke an energy but you can't contain the energy. Nataraja represents the fact that you can invoke, contain and make it dance to your tunes, quite literally and metaphorically, especially as per the story goes. Great. So we've talked about Sri Chakra. We talked about the Ashtama Siddhis that go around it. We can specifically elaborate on that simply because the blooming of the mind is also represented through the Ashtama Siddhis as the 8 petals around. There's actually 16 petals around that as well, which is the Shodasha Vidya. That is also very important. So we will keep the motifs of Sri Chakra, the lotus, also to represent the crown, and therefore connected to the 7 chakras in the body. From there we will talk about Akara, Ukara, Makara energies. The 3 energies, the 3 primordial facets of divine feminine consciousness that we know. Energy and consciousness are 2 facets of the same thing, but not necessarily the same. Energy can be manipulated. Sorry, what is it? What did I say? I forgot what I said now. See, in consciousness. Consciousness cannot be manipulated. Energy can be manipulated. Consciousness cannot be manipulated. You may manipulate an atom to do what you want. You may get it to manifest your reality, but you cannot you can't manipulate consciousness. You can't manipulate the divine when they manifest in their forms. Just because we say the divine is unmanifest or we say that it is formless doesn't mean it has no attributes to it, or doesn't mean that it has no qualities to it, or doesn't mean that it is not existing or real. Nataraja is very real. Just because we say it is unmanifest energy and we have given it form, we have not given any form. They took form, they gave us this experience. So, coming back to that, we will talk about Akara, Ukara, Makara, the primordial energies. Obviously, whatever the 3 deities represent. So, Sri Chakra, the lotus, 7 chakras, the Akara, Ukara, Makara energy. Let's explore all that in, and the fact that all of these are contained within and contain the universe around us. So let's do that in the first jadi, and then anyway after that the shlokam that comes is fairly straightforward. We'll get it.